Joan here, and today I'm here to bring you a cute USO girl from Captain America. This can make a super cute couples costume or even a group costume if you change up the colors. And I'd also like to thank everyone that's subscribed so far to see my work. It means a lot. Let's get right into it. You can find a list of everything that I used in the description box below. Start by folding your fabric in half, hot dog style, and then fold it in half again, hamburger style. Look at this diagram and figure out the radius and the skirt length. Holding your finger at one, with the other one, make sure that you can do a quarter of a circle. So my radius is 5.5, and I'm going to draw a curved dotted line, and then with my chalk I'm going to connect the line. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the hem of the skirt. Next, we are going to make a 1-inch seam allowance on the inner waistband. Cut off any excess fabric. Then open up the fabric and continue marking the line. Flip your fabric around and do the same thing on the other side. Next, we want to make a paper pattern for the white stripes. And to do that, we're going to line up the paper with the edge of the fabric, and with your pencil mark the hem and then mark the angle of the tape measure. Get your pencil under the fabric and draw that curved line. Next, push the fabric aside and with a ruler connect those two marks that you made. Cut it out, and this is what it should look like when you're done. Put it on a piece of white fabric and trace around it. Cut it out and repeat until you have 9 total. Lay out 5 pieces like this. Apply glue to the edges and pat it down gently so that you don't get like those weird looking globs on the other side. Then flip it to the other side and glue down 4 stripes just like this. To make the hem, you want to fold it up 1/2 inch and with your iron, gently press it down. Put some glue in there and pat it in place. And just look at how clean those edges turn out. Wrap the elastic around your waist, mark where the edges meet up, and then add a 1-inch seam allowance. You can either stitch it closed or secure it with a safety pin. If you see that your elastic is smaller than the fabric, that's perfect, because we're going to make a gathered skirt. And for that, you're going to make some notches in the seam allowance, fold the fabric over the elastic, put some glue, and then pat it into place. This creates an encasement for the elastic. Do this all the way around, and then you're done! Next, we're going to jump right into the belt. On a stiff piece of fabric, draw your line, mark out the midpoint, and then mark out the center width. Mark the side width and connect the 2 endpoints. Cut it out and fold it over the middle, and then trace around it. This will help us get an even side so that they're both symmetrical. Next, you want to cut it out, try it on, and make any necessary adjustments by tucking and looking at where you want it to be curved or shorter, and then adjust that to the actual piece. Lay it on your red fabric, cut around it, giving yourself about 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make some notches, put some glue on it, and pat it down. Cut some Velcro strips and glue them in place. And then you are finished! Next, we'll be working on this super cute top. Put your shirt on and mark how deep you want the neckline to go and create a V. Then you want to mark out the armholes, giving yourself enough space at the top so that you can make the ties. If you want to create a tighter shirt because it looks sexier, you can pinch and pin and stitch up the sides. Flip your shirt inside out and along the back make a line. Cut straight down the middle until you reach the line, and then cut. Turn your shirt right side out and cut along the white chalk lines. For the armhole, flip the shirt on its side, and with your chalk you want to clean up the line that you drew because it can look a bit choppy. Cut along the lines and make sure you leave enough space at the top so that you can make the ties and tie the halter. To make the ties, you're going to draw some lines on the back pieces of the shirt and cut them out so that it looks something like this. Now it should look something like this. Using a piece of paper, I am going to mark out the shape of my lapel. So you're going to figure out like how wide you want it and how far you want it to extend. This is what it should look like when you're done, and then you're going to cut it out. Place your pattern piece on a piece of craft foam, trace around it, cut it out, put it on some blue sequin fabric and cut a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. Trim the corners to create neat edges and begin gluing. And make sure not to glue the longest part down just yet, because that part is going to be attached to the shirt. To make sure I get the positioning just right, I'm marking it with a piece of chalk and I'm attaching it with a bobby pin. Next, I'm going to carefully remove the bobby pin and attach the sequin fabric to the t-shirt fabric. And repeat the same thing on the other side. Where the lapels meet up, you want to tuck in the fabric and glue it down nicely. Next, you want to draw a star on some white craft foam, cut it out and glue it onto the lapels. And then you're pretty much done. Next, we're going to start on my favorite project, which is the hat. You want to take 2 pieces of paper, tape them together, measure out 18 inches, and then fold that in half, cut it out, and tape the ends together. Then you want to trace around this lemon-looking shape, having the widest part be 5.75, and then you want to tape it to the hat. Try the hat on, make any necessary adjustments, and then cut out 1 piece of black foam for each pattern piece. With your glue gun, you want to glue down the edges just like you did with the paper pattern. That's kind of a tongue twister, paper pattern. For the top, it might help if you tape it down just to hold it down while you glue it so that it doesn't shift around so much. Then you're going to use your paper pattern pieces to cut out some sequined fabric, and then you're going to glue this fabric onto the hat. Next, you want to cut out your top piece without seam allowance and then glue it to the top of your hat. Next, you want to cut out 1 star and glue it to the side of your hat. Cut out 2 small pieces of black cord and glue them to the opposite ends of the hat. And now it's time for the epic shield. My shield measures out to 18 inches in diameter, and I'm marking the radius, which is 9 inches, and then here I'm marking at every 2 intervals. I have now created a rigging system of a string, a thumbtack, and a pencil as a compass to create my circles. And of course, cut out your shield with a very sharp X-Acto knife. On the back of your shield, measure out your elastic and glue it down. For added reinforcement, glue a piece of felt and make sure you paint your shield the right colors. In a Word document, pull up a star that is 6.5 inches, print it, cut it, and glue it, and you're done!